Hey guys, just wanted to say here at the beginning of this episode that first of all, thank you to Jamie and Amy for coming on and talking with me. And also, I just wanted to say that we used a slightly different recording style than I normally use, so I sound a little bit different. But yeah, hopefully everything sounds good to you guys, and yeah. Hopefully you enjoy the very special episode.
All right. Hello and welcome to the 823 podcast, episode 9. We have a very special episode today. I am interviewing the two judges on Lego Masters and Lego designers, Jamie and Amy.
Hey there.
Hello there.
Welcome to the show. Thank you for being here. And I really appreciate you guys making some time during quarantine to do the show.
Yeah, there's always time for Lego.
Exactly. We're happy to chat to you.
Well, thank you for being here. So I kind of wanted to get into the introduction of the show here. So my question, I ask this to pretty much every guest, kind of how did you get introduced to Lego?
Do you want to start, Jamie?
Sure. I got introduced to Lego as a child, so I've been a lifelong Lego fan. And it's one of those things that I never quite outgrew. And even in high school and college, my friends and family thought it was cool, the stuff I was building. So I just thought it was cool and kind of normal to be building with Lego bricks even into college. And then it's only after I became a full-fledged Lego fan going to events that I met with some Lego people at the event in BrickFest back in 2005, a long time ago. And they were looking to bring someone from the fan community into the company as an experiment. And that experiment has now taken me into a 14-and-a-half-year career at Lego.
Jamie's story is a hard one. Jamie's story is always a hard one for me to beat. I also played with Lego as a child. You know, it's a part of most kids' childhood. But when I graduated from school, I really knew I wanted to keep being creative and be a designer. And my passion for toys soon came through and designing fun and playful experiences, which also led me to Lego around 7 years ago. So I've been working in the company for 7 years and worked across different projects through then. And my passion for Lego has just grown and grown the more years that I have been working with the company.
Fantastic. That sounds like a dream job.
It really is.
But anyway, so kind of talking about that, those kind of careers. So what kind of requirements are there? Because I know, college and that kind of thing, like what kind of degrees should people go for? Are there any specific things, are there any specific skills that you need, that kind of thing?
I think actually there's two kind of main paths to Lego, which Jamie and I both quite well represent. The path that I have is more the product design background, training a product design degree or industrial design, some creative formal education, and a passion for toys. And then the other path is just be awesome at building Lego and being able to design and create it for other people and collect a portfolio of work and different pieces that you've made, so you can really showcase how talented you are as a designer of Lego.
Yeah, and I think that path is a little bit more tricky in that you don't just have to be an amazing builder, but you have to be able to build all kinds of things and for other people, which I think is the biggest surprise to Lego fans is that they may not realize that they may have to build for a 5-year-old or a 4-year-old or someone who's never read a book before and doesn't even know how to use the building instructions. And so just being an amazing builder gets our attention, but then you really have to be open to pushing yourself to try new things.
Exactly.
Yeah, absolutely. So, so you know you're Lego designers now, and you're looking at what themes you're going to design. So, why did you choose to design for the product themes that you do design for?
I guess partly you choose where you design, but also sometimes the project or the product line chooses you. I'm working in Lego Dots at the moment right now, and I've been working on it since the very early stages when we decided we wanted to create a new play experience that was more about decorating and 2D expression than building 3D creations for role play. So it was really exciting for me to be in something very early on that's very new and different from Lego and build it from the ground up.
Yeah, and I started in the Creator 3-in-1 team, and that was it's a great place to start as a Lego designer because it's really almost like the core of Lego, where you're building houses and cars and airplanes and some of the fundamentals that most kids grow up with. But it was actually within my first year that they offered me a chance to do what was called the exclusives for adults, the big models for adults. And I kind of resisted, strangely enough, because I wanted to prove myself that I could do like the real design work as I thought it was at the time, to make the products for kids, which is what most of what Lego does. Knowing that I came from the fan community, I didn't want to fall back on just being able to build models for adults and then get known for that. But they actually said, "Oh, give it a try. You can still do creator at the same time." And now I think it's really just become my calling card that I've somehow become associated with the adult products with Lego, but I've embraced it now. And I think that it's a really exciting place to be, but it's quite a different space for making models for kids. And that's where Amy and I are a wonderful balance, that our worlds are extremely different, the types of design work that we do, but we're both, I think, perfectly suited for the areas that we're in.
Absolutely. But yeah, so you're in those themes, and you're designing sets for them. What is your favorite set that you've designed in your career at Lego?
There's so many good ones. It's difficult. Yeah. You go, Jamie. I mean, you seem to know.
It's just that I'm usually connected with the modular buildings, and I'm really proud that we have a product line that's continued as long as it has. So I would say just doing the first one, the Cafe Corner, for me is something that I'm really happy happened, because I think that it's really opened new opportunities to make even more adult products for a whole new group of consumers. So I think that one stands out for me.
Yeah, I think Lego Dots has a very special place in my heart right now. I'm really excited about the new product line, but I worked for a long time in Lego Friends, and I guess one of my favorite products is a ski cabin that I designed just after I'd been on my first ski holiday with my friends. So really a lot of experience was put into the build from the great time I'd had with my friends skiing and learning to ski. And I also was really lucky to have a mini doll in there named Amy that looks like me. And so that's my little claim to fame, I guess, in the Lego products.
That's awesome. You have your own mini doll. That's great.
Yes.
But so I think that a lot of people probably, they have an image in their mind of what a day-to-day life of a Lego designer is. So I'm kind of curious, like, what is it actually like? What is it like being in the offices or in the design rooms and designing sets?
Shall I kick this off for you, Jamie? I think
sure,
a lot of what they imagine is probably true in many ways, but there's a lot of things probably behind the scenes that happen that you're not aware of. But in the office, we have a huge element stock where we have thousands and thousands of bricks, every brick you can imagine. and a big building area where everyone can sit together and, you know, make their creations. So that is a really cool image I think you can have in your head of being a Lego designer. But something I guess that's quite surprising is that it takes over a year, quite a lot over a year to design a Lego product. And we iterate and iterate the models again and again to get the perfect details, to really think about the play experience, to try it out with kids or adults, whoever the consumer are, and really dig into the small details and the experience of building to make sure that you have the best possible experience when you open a box.
Yeah, and that's where I think there really is no typical day, just because throughout the year we do so many different things. So, you know, we're coming up on the summer, and traditionally that's where we would do a lot of concept work. Really thinking blue sky, where it doesn't matter if the model is strong. You're just selling an idea to people. You're trying to convince people this is something interesting. And then it's only later on that you make it stronger and make it buildable. But there's also a digital side to it. So our designers have to also be able to put the models into the computer, which is also kind of fun, because then you can do color exploration and you can actually flip models and reconfigure them in a much faster way than having to do with the regular bricks. And then there's other times we're doing kids testing or we're doing photo shoots. And so it really is quite a dynamic workspace where I think it's hard to say there is a typical day.
That's something that makes it so great and exciting though, right, Jamie? That it is pretty different every day and different times of year.
Definitely. But the one thing that's constant is just being surrounded by awesome creative people. So that's the part that's just so cool every day. Just being with all those people that are just fun.
Absolutely. So, you know, a lot of people really enjoy, you know, building sets and whatnot, myself included. And so, you know, they kind of want to design the sets themselves. So what would you say to someone who wants to do that? Just like any tips or anything like that?
I would say there's a great platform right now called Lego Ideas. And the reason I direct towards that is because then you get real life validation of your ideas. People can actually vote on it and give commentary on what's good and what they like. And then you learn over time how to make things for other people. So I think, as I mentioned before, just that it really is quite different when you have to not just make something for yourself, but make something that other people would want and also can handle and build. So I think the more that people can be comfortable with handing a model to a complete stranger or someone that they know, it doesn't matter, but don't tell them what to do with it. Just see how they hold it, how they play with it, if they know what it is. What's the question that they have? What are they drawn to? The more that you get comfortable with getting outside of your own world and being in someone else's shoes, I think that's a huge advantage.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. Okay, I got it now. So I guess I will now move on to Lego Masters. This is the American version. You are the judges for the show. We will probably get into a little bit of spoilers here, so if you haven't seen the show yet, you might want to wait until you've seen it. But yeah, so how did you first learn about the show? Like, when did someone come up to you and say, you know, we really want you to do this show, kind of thing, and what happened before the show was announced or aired?
I mean, there's been several different versions of the show across globally. So there's been a British version, which was the first one. There's been one in Germany. There's been one in Australia. So I think Jamie and I both knew about the show since these early days. And Jamie actually worked to help preparing for some of the other shows as well and give input in that. But when we heard about the US one, I think both Jamie and I just really thought it was really exciting and wanted to be a part of sharing our love of Lego with America.
Yeah, and it was kind of fun because you know, we're so used to designing toys, having to think about being on television is a completely different world. But we did our best. We tried to do our audition tapes We had to do all kinds of crazy things to show that we would not panic on camera and that we could actually be quite good at the job, because it is a tough job where you have to be able to very quickly look at something and be able to focus on what matters and highlight things to give commentary on. So I think a lot of practice was needed, and just trying to be in a different space that fits for television. But it was fun, and we auditioned with other people in the company, so it wasn't a given that it was just going to be the two of us, which makes me feel a little more proud that we made the cut, because there's some really talented people that we were up against.
Yeah, and Jamie and I hadn't actually really worked much together before, so we were also learning how to be a team as part of it. And of course, yeah, as Jamie said, being on we're very used to working with Lego. We're very used to giving critiques, but being on camera and talking to an audience at home was a very different experience for Jamie and I that we had to learn how to do. So it was a chat in that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So you've kind of, you've auditioned, you've made the cut, as you said. So kind of what was recording the show like? Was there any, like how did that work? And then were there any builds that were built during production that you, that stand out to you now?
I think it's hard.
Yeah.
Definitely, it's hard for us to say, and we don't maybe like to have favorites. I think one thing we can definitely say is Jamie and I were not expecting the standard of building that came out of that competition when we started. I think day one, when we went in on the first challenge, we were already blown away by what people could create under the pressure and the time constraints that they had, how they could make functions, how they could make stories, how they could make just really large scale models. So there was just so many incredible builds throughout the competition.
Yeah, it was just a wonderful environment to be in, because I think we went into it, we knew it was a competition show, but I don't think that, everybody in the room got the memo, so to speak, because everybody was trying to help each other, and they were so collaborative that it was really a great environment to be in. Just so many creative people and so much energy and just wonderful personalities that I think very early on, Amy and I realized this was going to be even harder than we thought, because we just like all the people much, and they're so talented. But it was a dynamic environment for sure. I mean, you've got cameras everywhere, everything's being recorded. You really get to appreciate how much goes into one of these shows, and the effort that's put in, and the fact that these people the builders could still be so creative and so present. Distractions with lights and cameras and all the stuff. They still managed to perform amazingly well.
So the specific builds question was a little bit too specific, I guess. Like, what was your favorite challenge that was put forward on the show?
I think there was a couple for me. I love the Smash challenge because I just think actually building something out of Lego to be destroyed quite counterintuitive and really requires a very creativity. So it was really amazing to see how people's idea process worked in that. And I also really loved the storybook challenge where we had the kids writing the story. Of course, I designed for kids, so that's especially close to my heart, but it was just a really, really fun challenge. And the output of the builds were also just really fun and playful and creative. So I really enjoyed that challenge.
Yeah, and I would also agree on the storybook challenge. It's just so wild. It's just so blue sky. Like to see really talented builders that are maybe a little bit more comfortable with reality or replicating something, to have to be kind of thrown off guard by, what is the imagination of the kids, not only in what they're being asked to do, but in the end, the kids come back and then they actually tell them, oh, that's what I was thinking, or not.
Yeah.
It's a whole different world to be in. And I just love seeing everybody trying to figure out, what to hold on to or what to build in that environment. But on a personal level, I also particularly like the Star Wars challenge just because I got to meet R2-D2 and C-3PO. So the guilty pleasure there that just made me regress into becoming a little child again, and I was just geeking out.
That was a cool challenge as well, though. Very cool builds in that challenge.
Yeah.
So many good ones. It's hard to pick
Absolutely.
favorites.
Oh, you're fine. You're fine. So were there, like, was there a specific team? This might be another too specific question, but was there a specific team that you just enjoyed watching them build? You know, did they do something like, you know, did they sort in a specific way, or did they, you know, organize parts in a specific way, or something along those lines that you just enjoyed watching?
I think for me was quite interesting is obviously we're watching these teams for such a long time. Like the challenges are 15 hours. So we really get to know them and their process. So it's interesting to see how different the different teams were. And you can see a lot of their personality come out in the way they actually build, or in the teamwork that they have as well. You could see with Manny and Nestor that Manny was kind of always in charge and leading the team. And in some other teams, you know, it was really more equal. So I think it was just interesting to see how differently they all approach challenges and the dynamics they had when building together.
Yeah. I was particularly mesmerized by Mark's fingers, how quickly he could put down bricks. I just like, at some point, there's just going to be smoke or something, because he was so fast at being able to just lay bricks. So I think that one kind of stood out to me. And I have to say, for some reason, Kara and Jesse, it was just really fun to see their dynamic in their creative process. It really was quite enjoyable to watch, and again, just likable people. But they also they build in a way that I can remember building on my floor type of thing, like, you know, Kara taking off her shoes type of thing. I totally connect with that.
Absolutely. So I guess here, kind of for my final question, because I know you guys, I know you guys are busy, so I don't want to take up too much of your time. But what was your favorite part of the show?
It's really hard. I think it was seeing the imagination, the way the imagination of the builders worked, and how we could throw any challenge at them, and they would take it with a smile on their face, excitement, and then they would build something incredible that we hadn't even imagined when we set the challenge. And for me, that was really magical each time to see that process come to life.
Yeah, and I think that for me, it's the reaction of the audience. I mean, this has really been a fun show for people to watch at a time that they really needed it. And I've really enjoyed just seeing how much people care about the show and the people on it. So I think the fact that it reached out past Lego fans, the traditional consumer of Lego products, and really just has spoken to people that really hadn't even considered Lego in their life before, but are now reaching out to me, you know, Amy and I, or me and Amy, and just telling us, wow, this is really just fun seeing how creative people can be, and they just like the people. So I really was impressed with how much of a reach this show had, and how it really just hit people on multiple levels, and you know, kids, adults, older people. It's just really nice to be a part of something that I think has united so many people.
Well said.
Yeah, absolutely. I've seen a lot of very positive reactions to the show. So this is kind of a follow-up question here. Do you know, will there be a season 2? Because I've seen that question asked quite a lot. Can I ask that question?
You can ask it, but there's no confirmation yet. We, of course, are excited by the prospect of a season 2, but there's a lot of things to figure out in the current environment. And I think we're as anxious as you are to find out if it happens. And at this point, we're waiting as much as you are to find out.
but we love people want a season 2. I think that is just amazing that so many people have been so engaged that they just want more.
Yes.
Mhm. So anyway, I think unless there's anything else that you just have to say, or anything else on the show or design or anything else that you want to say, I think we can call it a show.
The problem is I could talk for hours, so I think it's probably best if we call it a show.
I can confirm that is true.
All right. Well, thank you for being here. I know that you guys are very busy, and I appreciate taking time to come on this little show and talk about the bigger show. So I really do appreciate you guys coming out and talking.
No problem. It's been really
It's
nice
been fun.
chatting
Thank
to
you for having us.
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah, I appreciate it, and I hope you keep that energy going, and let's go for season 2. We hope.
Yeah.
we'll start a social media campaign. A couple of those have been really successful, so we'll start a social media campaign. We want a season 2. But anyway,
That's great.
So once again, thank you for being here, and we will be back for episode 10 sometime in the future. Not sure when that'll be, but yeah. So once again, thank you for being here, and I will talk to you guys later.
Bye.
Bye.